Dr. Dan here, and I guide students to be smart about higher education. This is my Wisdom for the Week video, and this is the final video of the 5-part series of the Be Smart series. So today we're going to be talking about 5 steps to determine when and how you begin change. So that's just part of life. Change is a part of life. So we just go about our daily life, and I usually like to divvy it up into seasons. Some seasons are good, some seasons are bad, and whatever happens, even if they're good seasons, we kind of take them for granted. It's the same old, where we don't realize how good it is, and then we're not grateful for it, and then when something goes wrong, we just take it for granted. We had a really good season. On the other hand, if it's a bad season, we tend to drag on and just think this will never end. Our attitude can be one that we just don't know when this will end. And really, there are some bad seasons for people in life, but there are a number of people that they manage to go through these seasons and figure out ways to overcome that. So whatever your season is, whether it's good or bad, change is going to come. And change is inevitable, but growth is optional. So change can be scary, it can be exciting, it can be both all at the same time. So, for example, when a baby first is crawling along, first they crawl, then they walk, and they're stumbling, and there's change going on, and they're encouraged to bring about change. Likewise, if you go from, you talk to some students, and they go from middle school to high school, they love it. Other ones look at the upperclassmen as intimidating, they start getting bullied, there's some problems there. Going to college, you have good college roommates, bad college roommates. There's good professors, there's bad professors, there's nightmares, there's good things. A lot of this has to do with your attitude. When you go to your first job, you feel like a dummy when you go there the first week or two at least. Maybe first 6 months to a year, it takes you that long to get in the swing of things for that job. So change is inevitable. So because of these changes, we will be very uncomfortable. And so a lot of people don't necessarily like change, and there are some that like change, variety. They're always looking for that kind of stuff, but we need some routines. But a lot of times when there's a major change, it is uncomfortable, and so it's a problem to do that. So we can decide to lean into the change or avoid the change. Remember, the change is inevitable. The growth is optional. So I always like to look at those uncomfortable changes as I'm kind of leaning into it. So we don't want to base the change of what we're going through, good or bad, on our feelings. Feelings can kind of mislead us, and we're going to call them, for now, I used this term in one of the previous videos, bad guys. So there's some bad guys out there, like when we want to avoid change, there's procrastination. We'll just avoid it. We'll do something stupid, or go watch cat videos on Facebook, do kinds of things like that. That's a bad guy, procrastination. We got to learn to overcome that. Analysis paralysis. I'm looking at all the things I have to decide, and I kind of freeze because I don't want to make the wrong decision. Perfectionists would have a problem in this area where you're always analyzing things, don't want to make the wrong decision, so you just analyze everything and don't make any decisions. Another one would be negative self-talk. If you make a mistake, like for example, I just forgot a really important meeting the other morning, and it would have easily been, I didn't even know what happened. It just kind of blurted out of my mind. I could have easily got into the negative self-talk of, you idiot, you dummy, how could you let that happen? But I resisted. I did not want to do that, and so I've been getting better at that. There's still some times when I do something really stupid that I kind of slip into there, but I try to jump out of that as quick as I can. So forming habits to get out of those patterns of whether it's procrastination or negative self-talk or analysis paralysis, it takes a lot of work, and you can't just kind of make a flippant decision. New Year's resolutions are proof that flippant decisions don't work well. So the procrastination, the analysis paralysis, and the negative self-talk, those are kind of things that we can kind of make some decisions on the surface to deal with. There's other deeper things that we'll call cognitive distortions. And so these are a little bit more deep-rooted. They require a little bit more tact and figuring out how to dig down and get these things out. So some of the things that may be bothering us, like pessimism. Pessimism is kind of a habit, and it's not just this some easily breakable thing, an easily recognizable thing. Sometimes that pattern is deep-rooted in us. There's another one, helplessness, where we kind of feel helpless. Things are against us, and what can we do? We don't even know what our things are. And when we feel helpless, then we feel powerless, and then we just don't do. We feel like we can't do anything about it. Overgeneralization. We'll take a small thing and kind of put it like, well, happens to me all the time. Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong, and people feel like, yeah, that's my life. That's just the way it is. It's not that way. You have to record these things and look at this and say, that overgeneralization is just not true all the time. There's some bad things that happen, but there's also some good things that happen. Blaming. I remember the one time I was backpacking and I was miserable. My feet were sore. I was tired, and I was blaming my buddy that talked me into going on the backpacking trip. And he really didn't talk me into it. I made the decision to go on there, but I was blaming him when I was tired and hungry and all that kind of stuff. So we got to watch when we're blaming others. Emotional reasoning. We take one little snippet of information, and then we kind of base everything on that. If he looked at me the wrong way, that means that he doesn't like me. Nope, that's emotional reasoning. We got to avoid those things. We got to take measures to not let that happen and not fall into those traps. So how long are you going to put up with these cognitive distortions, the little negativity things that are going to steal from you, rob and kill your dreams and your hopes? You don't have to put up with that. You can make changes for the better and for the best in your life. And I happen to know a guy that could help you do that. So in any event, we want to break these cognitive distortions. We want to lean into change. And one of the ways that we can do that on kind of a micro level, right up front, is from a wonderful lady. She's one of the top speakers in the world, Mel Robbins, and she wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. And basically, it's all based on when you have a decision to make on a small scale. If you know it's the right thing to do, you can't sit there and think about it based on your feelings. So, for example, if I know I got to get up in the morning, I can't sit there and reason through it like, oh man, this bed feels so wonderful, and I don't have to get up. No, she has a 5-second rule. It's counting backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do what you need to do. That would be going to bed on the front end. If you were tired in the morning, maybe you didn't get to bed early enough. You need to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. At night when you feel like, oh, I'm going to be okay. No, you need to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because you have predetermined you need to get to bed at 10:30 and not at 11:30. So you use these 5-second rule. That's on the small scale. So those could help you make those daily decisions, those daily battles, one-on-one battles. And then the bigger decisions would have to be formulated from the 5 questions that we've talked about in this Be Smart series. So where are you? Do that simple assessment. That's pretty simple. Where are you at in your life? The next one would be, where are you going and why? You need to determine, where do you want to be with your life? And then that key critical thing of, why are you going to go there? Why are you going there? Is it for your betterment? Is it for the betterment of your family, of friends, of the world? The better the cause and the better the why, the more likely you're moving in that direction. The third one would be, who are you? And that's where we talked about time, treasure, and talents. And so where you spend your money and your time and use your talent has everything to do with who you are. Regardless of what you think you want to be, that's who you are, where you spend those areas. And then the last one, prior to the fourth one, would have been, what are you doing? Are you doing anything that matters? You're missing out on the best that life has to offer unless you're doing things that have meaning. If it's all about us, it just doesn't flow. We know, and you see celebrities and famous people and wealthy people that are miserable, and they seemingly have everything. They're beautiful, they're rich, they're famous, and they're still unhappy. And that's because they may not be doing meaningful things in their lives. So it's key to be doing meaningful things. And then the final question is, when are you going to begin this process? Now's a great time to begin that. So keep watching these videos and get pointers, and we're eventually going to be putting a course out there that would be on a more formal basis to do this. But just keeping up to speed with these things, with the week wisdom for the week, Now is the time to bring about some change. Okay, huge change doesn't come overnight. It's this process where you're sowing into your life and just doing those things, those steady good things, doing a 5-second rule to make the right decisions on those micro level decisions, and then doing this 5-question process, step-by-step process, to keep reviewing your life and moving in a positive direction. So I encourage you. You can do this. You can, change your life, do change for the better, and make progress in your life. So if this video was helpful to you, like it, share it, send it to other people so that they can benefit from it too. I have an eZine article that I'll link. I'll show you the link in my down below in the video blog writings there, the posting that I have, and then you can connect with that and get it from a little bit different angle on this. So I know you can do this. This is good stuff. You want to bring about that positive change in your life. You want to begin it now because you can. So this is Dr. Dan. Know where you're going with your life. Become the person you were destined to be and make a difference in the world.